The IB is in simple words, a pain in the ass. And I guess that's a good thing because the name itself implies something challenging. The International Baccalaureate. The International Baccalaureate is supposed to challenge students. That's why it is well recognized around the world, except for Malaysia. Now I will go into that a bit later, but I just want to start this video with what I think the IB really does to students. If you don't know what the IB is, there are many videos to explain in detail what the IB does and what it offers to students. Now, I talked about how it is meant to be challenging, and there are many aspects to it that makes it challenging. Okay, so first off, we have the subjects. I guess in a diploma level, it's pretty much as challenging as you would expect in any other diploma courses. If you take the A-levels, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much the same difficulty. Some do argue that the A-levels are harder, but I guess that's subjective and depends on the subject as well. Now, what makes the IB really difficult in terms of their subjects is the internal assessments or the IAs. Now, I don't want to explain in detail what the IAs are, but in short, they are also a pain in the ass. Now, each subject undertakes a different kind of IA. For languages, we have specific written assignments. For sciences, we have experiments to undertake. So, those things definitely do take up your time. But overall, I think they are a good exposure to what you will experience in the future. So let's say I want to be a mechanical engineer. So in physics, I study how magnets affect non-magnetic metal. I can take the experience I had with the experiment to the future because the IA, as much as it is a pain in the ass, it allows you to be creative with what you want to do. That means it is up to you to do what you feel is right. The other thing about the IB is the extended essay or the EE. Now, the EE is a bigger pain in the ass compared to the IAs. Mostly because you have to conform to a certain set of guidelines to actually undertake your EE in the first place. I took cultural artifact for my EE. Now, I had pretty much a lot of things that I wanted to do, but in the end, I chose to talk about how Wonder Woman interacts with feminism, the idea as a whole, and how she influences feminism and how feminism influences her. The EE allows a lot of creative freedom. Let's say if I inclined to become an engineer, but I want to do something more on the line of visual arts. So I can do an EE about visual arts. And that's pretty much what the extended essay allows. It allows you to be creative and to partake in things that you want to do. Again, there are a set of guidelines you have to conform, and that hurts a lot. But I guess as a whole, the EE really allows you to explore what you want to do, and at the same time, pretty much prepares you to what a thesis looks like. It's pretty short, 4,000 words. But I guess as a short exposure, it really works. Next up, the theory of knowledge. Now, the TOK does not make sense. I'm still really unclear what the end game for the TOK is. I understand it's much to do with the appreciation of knowledge, how knowledge goes through generations, how it is developed, how it is appreciated. But it's never really clear what TOK really wants. The thing is, TOK is never really clear what it really wants to be. In my school, it is ABCD, but then if you go to another school, it's XYZ. So it's never really clear what the TOK is. Sure, there are certain guidelines to help a student, myself included, to understand TOK, to go through the ways of knowing, the areas of knowledge. But in the end, it's never really clear how do we get to the point that it really satisfies TOK examiners. Not to mention, TOK really does take a lot of your time. You have to do the TOK essay, your TOK presentation, and that takes a lot of research. And as a whole, I think the TOK is still should be implemented within the IB, but I think even if you remove it, it may be better for students. I mean, students will have even more time to finish up their IAs, the EE. Instead, you have to do a TOK essay, TOK presentation about something you don't even know. So it doesn't really add up with anything with real significance. However, I would like to just say that the TOK definitely sometimes help with your EE and IAs as well. On occasions, where you're doing like language EEs, your if you're doing your language EEs or your language A, language B, IA, TOKs can sometimes help, but to what extent is not really clear. Okay, the final thing I want to give my thought on is CAS, Creativity, Activity and Service. Or is it Creativity, Action and Service? I do not know, I don't really care, because I'm done with IB anyway. So basically CAS is, in simple terms, is extracurricular activities that you are forced to partake. And if you do not meet a certain requirement of the number of hours you put yourself into the CAS, a certain CAS project or CAS projects, you will not be receiving your diploma. The thing with CAS is that I think that some students are too into CAS that they neglect the final the end game, the final examinations, because CAS takes so much time, and if you invest too much time into CAS, you will forget about your subjects, the things that you actually have to study. I think there's too much emphasis on CAS because in the end, what you really want to look into are the subject grades. The CAS is just there for you to fulfill its requirements. Sometimes you have to do even more, which is fine. I think certain students that really want to really give back to society, and they want to do so in such a large scale, is a pretty admirable commitment. But I think that IB shouldn't really give too much emphasis on CAS, because I think it's just supposed to be there to provide a holistic experience for students in the diploma program. It shouldn't really be emphasized as a really important key to building in good students. It helps students to reach the level of being an excellent student, but it shouldn't be given too much priority compared to the subjects. Now, I've pretty much talked about everything I want to talk about IB. I don't think I'm missing anything. I mean, subjects are hard, pretty much expected. TOK is hard, I hate it. CAS is taking too much time, I hate it. The EE is actually fine. I actually enjoyed my research with Wonder Woman for academic purposes only. But I think as a whole, the IB is a good program. I really do think that the IB is a program that really deserves the recognition that it has deserved right now. And that comes to another problem. The IB in Malaysia isn't really that recognized. Not just by individuals like myself prior to going into the IB, but also by institutions. The IB is pretty much seen as just another diploma program. I will argue otherwise. The IB isn't just a diploma program. It is one of the hardest diploma programs out there. And I really think that certain institutions don't see that. Now, what needs to be done to overcome this problem is something that I have no idea. I mean, private institutions actually look up to the IB in Malaysia. But public institutions don't look at IB the same way private institutions do. So I think that's the real problem there. The problem is that students who take the IB find it even more difficult to enter public institutions, even if they have received pretty good results in their final exams. So I think that's pretty unfair. You got to think about the cost of studying. Education is an investment. It is a very expensive business. So if you have to go to private institutions, you have to pay a lot more money compared to going to public institutions. What I'm trying to talk here is about how public institutions don't give the same opportunity to IB students the same way private institutions do. Now, how do we solve this problem? I still have no idea, but the problem is still there. To all IB students in Malaysia who are struggling to find a place in a local institution, I bid all the best. I really do hope you get a place. I really feel that all of you are deserving of a place in any local institutions in Malaysia. In fact, you deserve a place outside of Malaysia. But it's not going to be easy. But I really feel that all of you can make it.